We're coming for you. Visiting Japan had always been my dream. My friends, David, Sarah, Lena, Jake, and I, finally made it happen, and the trip started perfectly. We explored the bustling streets of Tokyo, but then we decided to spend a few nights in the countryside, looking for something more authentic, more peaceful. That's when everything changed. We found an old, traditional inn in the mountains. It was a quaint ryokan, hidden from the modern world. The elderly innkeeper welcomed us, but her hollow eyes and stiff smile unsettled me. My friends didn't seem to notice, too busy admiring the charm of the place. I tried to ignore my own discomfort, chalking it up to jet lag and nerves. That night, I had a strange dream. I was walking down a dark, endless hallway, my footsteps echoing on the wooden floors. As I turned a corner, I saw two little girls. They were identical, long black hair, pale skin, and the darkest eyes I'd ever seen. They stood silently at the end of the hallway, just staring at me. I tried to move, but I was frozen in place. Their eyes felt like they were swallowing me whole. I woke up, my heart racing, drenched in sweat. I told myself it was just a nightmare, but it felt so real. The next day, I didn't mention it to anyone, though the eerie feeling stayed with me. The second night, the dream returned. The girls were closer this time, their whispers filling the air. I couldn't understand what they were saying, but their voices sent shivers down my spine. When I woke up, I felt like they had been right there in the room with me. I decided to tell my friends the next morning. Jake laughed, but I knew something was wrong. On the third night, the dream took a darker turn. I didn't want to fall asleep, but exhaustion got the better of me. This time, the girls were right next to me, their cold breath on my skin. They leaned in close, their black eyes piercing mine, and whispered in unison, "We're coming for you." I woke up to the sound of my door creaking open, my heart pounded, and I felt paralyzed with fear. The room was dark, but I knew they were there, watching me. I could feel their presence. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. The terror was overwhelming. When I told my friends the next day, they seemed concerned, but still didn't fully believe me. The next morning, I started feeling dizzy, and my vision began to blur. At first, I thought it was just from lack of sleep, but it kept getting worse. I started seeing shadows at the edge of my sight. Small figures like the girls, always just out of view. When we went into town, the locals stared at me, whispering behind my back. I asked a shopkeeper if there was a legend or ghost story about two little girls, but she looked horrified and refused to speak to me. That night, the nightmare became real. I woke to see the girls standing at the foot of my bed, their eyes glinting in the dark. They reached out and I felt their icy fingers close around my throat, squeezing. I couldn't breathe. My body was frozen, just like in the dream. Just as I thought I would pass out, my friends burst into the room, shaking me awake. The girls disappeared, but the fear remained. I knew they were coming for me, and I didn't have much time. We fled the inn that night, running through the forest, desperate to escape, but the horror followed us. Over the next few days, my vision faded completely. No doctor could explain it. My eyes were fine, yet I was blind. I knew it was the girls. They had taken my sight. The nightmare didn't end there. My friends started to die one by one. Jake was found drowned in a river, Sarah disappeared, and Lena was discovered hanging from a tree. David vanished without a trace. I was the only one left, but I knew I wouldn't be safe for long. The girls still haunted me in my dreams, their whispers louder and more sinister each night. Now I live in darkness, haunted by the memory of their black eyes. I can feel them watching me, waiting to take what's left of my soul. Every night I hear their voices, soft but terrifying, whispering the same words. "We're coming